by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Joining us now is the much-loved host, no more, of Kids CBC since 2003, Patty Sullivan. Welcome, Patty.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And it was great. We connected on our Twitter party, our Twitter launch
I
party.
know. Who knew?
Well, Eric was going, is that the Patty Sullivan? I'm like, yeah, what's new with her? And he says, well, she's gone from CBC. I said, ooh, we better talk about that.
But this kind of flew under the radar because people aren't talking about it.
People, I don't know if people know. I mean, I'm technically still there for this month of August, wrapping things up. Something went out in Kids Screen magazine about it, but I guess because that's more of an industry, magazine, your average mom and dad might not see that. So
was this a surprise to you? Because you're iconic in that genre.
I guess yes and no. I mean, it was a surprise because there's always been changes on the show. I've been there for 13 years, and in the 13 years I've been there, I think it's changed at least 4 times, like the look. And I've always been part of the change. So in that sense, yeah, it was a surprise. The flip side, I guess, not, because somebody new came in about almost a year ago, and whenever somebody new comes in, sometimes things change. So I think maybe way in the back of my mind I was concerned, but I was still surprised, yeah.
Are you surprised in general by the industry, the way it's gone? I mean, you were at TVO for 9 years, then CBC for 13.
Yeah.
And things have changed a lot. It used to be that if a host was loved, they wouldn't move them for love or money.
Yeah, and I think it depends what the show is as well. I mean, in kids television, I believe consistency is important. Mind you, audiences are constantly changing when you're talking about children's programming as well. I mean, somebody who was watching from...
Yeah, my children
your
watched
kids
you
don't
on TVO,
exactly.
and then they didn't watch you on
That's
CBC.
right,
because
that's for preschoolers.
Right.
So, yeah, of course, things do change as far as viewers go, but, Sesame Street's a hit for a reason because it hasn't changed. You bring in new things, but the essence of it's the same. So I think it depends who your audience is, who you're talking to. For me, I think for preschoolers, you want to keep things steady and familiar, and they like things that are predictable. It's hard changing things up on little ones.
Well, without sort of taking an edge here, do you think that this affects women more than men in the industry?
Women of a certain age.
Yeah.
Because you're relatively young.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see somebody my age, but not your age.
But even still, in my field, I mean, look back, you had Mr. Dressup, and you had Sharon Wilson Bram, and you had Sherry and Lamb Chop, and none of these people were 20. I don't think in children's programming that necessarily matters. It shouldn't matter. Kids don't see age when they're 4, 5, 6. They see, do I like this person or don't I? And that's it. That's really it. They either like you, they like your energy, they like your whatever it is that you're giving through the camera. I think it's different when it comes to news. Like we all saw what happened with Canada AM, and some other people have been recently.
Yeah, have you been reading Jeff Hutchison's blog? He's spilling the beans.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah, but I do think it is harder for women. I do, and I think we've seen that, all the way to Hollywood with women saying, as soon as I hit this age, the roles dried up. It's sad.
Well, it's so funny because when I started way back when in the business, we were window dressing, very rare, odd here and there. Talking heads, but just window dressing. And it was still older white men. And then we did the complete circle, and now it sort of seems to be women of a certain age.
Yeah, but the women of a certain age is getting younger too, because we used to think,
are they, or are we
50?
just getting older?
No. But I mean, it used to be you'd sort of get nervous around 50, 55, saying I'm probably going to get packaged out early. Now it's 45 to 50 is the
right.
Here they come, high heels, clacking down the hallway
it's
after
true.
you.
Yeah, and I don't know how you change that. I don't know how you fix that. I don't think the viewers have a problem with anybody over a certain age. It's always whoever's in charge, and unless you're the one in charge, I don't know how you change that.
But media in general has changed. So what are you going to do now? What are your plans? What are you looking at?
Well, expanding my horizons a little bit, maybe. Maybe doing some voice work, maybe doing some writing. I'm actually doing some writing right now. A lot of people have said you should produce, you should direct, this, that, and the other. So it's nice to have options. It's nice to have choices. But I still love what I do. I still love performing.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's going to go away.
And you were a 2-time Gemini Award winner. You've got, all kinds of subjects you've tackled, very diverse, different educational concepts, current affairs, bullying, charitable telethons, all this kind of thing. But you've interviewed not just children and politicians, authors and astronauts, scientists, musicians. I mean, it goes on. But you started in radio. Why don't you come back to radio?
I could. Because I'm not against that.
Other than social media shots, you don't have to. It doesn't matter how old you are here.
No, it's funny. Yeah, I started in current events reporting for CFRB and Chum AM way back when, and driving a van around town and giving away prizes like coffee makers and things like that. I love talking. I love talking to people, whether it's on camera or through a microphone or what have you.
Well, this is sort of like us. We like telling stories and we like interacting with people, and you either love it or you don't. Yeah. And you do. And you're great at it.
Some people aren't comfortable with it. They may come across as confident when you put them on air, but behind the scenes they're like, well, it's not my thing. But for me, it is my thing.
So do you think maybe you're going to explore some of the new platforms? Because media has changed, and we've found that.
Yeah, for sure. YouTube especially is huge for kids.
Why don't you do your own kids show on YouTube?
I just might.
Okay.
You never know. That's where I have 2 kids, 9 and 5, and, They of course they've seen my show, and they always laugh at the ridiculous things I do, but a lot of the time they're searching YouTube or they're searching Netflix, and so it would be silly of me not to explore those options.
So let me ask you, programming's changed a lot, but has it changed for preschoolers ultimately?
No. I mean, there's a much broader range of choices. And like you said, platforms to choose it from. But in the end, when you're talking preschoolers, the parents are still the ones who initially decide what their preschooler is going to tune into. And 99% of the time, it's educational. I mean, every parent wants their child to learn the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s in a fun way. We call it edutainment, right? With small e education. And I don't think that's going anywhere. That will always be part and parcel of what preschoolers will watch, because the parents choose. Once they're big enough to hit the clicker, and even 3 and 4-year-olds now know how to swipe on an iPad and do that, but it's still the parents who are going to say, well, this is not appropriate for you, I want to pick this. So things have changed visually. Animation is better and things look more realistic, and you have all these new things, but the essence is still the same.
You should do a show that helps young children learn how to code. They've got all those great kindergarten games.
I want my
and
kids to learn how to code.
Well, use them. Put them on air. What the hell?
Teach me how to code.
No. I don't want her in the website. I really don't.
No, it's true. My husband, he kind of taught himself. He's like, they need to learn this. It's true.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I think they're doing that in England. Like in kindergarten, kids are learning the
they're
basics
games
of coding.
that take everything down to zeros and ones, right? So it's very, very cool. So what's your advice to someone that's starting out in the industry?
Yeah, I've spoken to some classes, and that's always the big thing. How do I make it, or what advice do you have? And my biggest thing has always been try anything and try everything. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing, because for 2 reasons. No matter what job you end up with, the more you know about the people around you and the jobs that they do, the better you will be at your own job. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, you never know when your job's going to change. So it's good to have other things in your arsenal. So like myself, I always knew I liked performing, but I learned how to write, and I learned all these other aspects. And it's important to be able to do all those things.
How can people follow you or get in touch with you?
Oh, well, I'm on Twitter. Patty Sullivan. I'm
got your own name.
Instagram,
Well
The Patty Sullivan. I've got my own website, thepattysullivan.com. Did I miss something? Facebook. I've
That'll
started.
do. They'll find you.
I can't wait to see what you do because I'm
I
sure
think
it'll
it's gonna
be
be great.
amazing. And I think you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Another guest whose career revolves around children, Janice Bean from Parents Canada magazine, is up next. She's going to talk to us about how to help your children process the violent world we seemingly live in. But before we go to break, we just want to congratulate Julie Lynn McCann, who has won that fabulous Science of Ripley's gift basket, courtesy of the Ontario Science Centre. And she's very excited about it, and they're heading in. It's a great exhibit. Ends this weekend, but the Science Centre is there all year. We'll be right back on What She Said. Stay with us.